So this is part two for lab number 5. Let me clarify. This is coming down to number 3 right now. What I need for you to research is take that same set of code that you call square one that you ran from the top part that up here. Okay, this is your square or square. I call it. I call it square one, but square sqrt.cpp in there. Copy the set of code that you have right here. Paste into add in another CPP file, and add that into your code. Compile it, okay? This is the part that I want you to actually add in. There's going to be a before and after. We're going to take a snapshot of what it is before and what it is after with this thing. So the square root 2.cp is the second code. Make sure you exclude your square.cpp, your first code, because it has an extra CPP, your extra int main in there. That's going to need to be excluded in there. Now, when you look at this code, if you notice here is that what I've initialized are a few things. I use the time variable, the C library file, and that allows me to actually use the time t before and the time t after. You got it? So that allows me to do a snapshot of the data type. This is similar to what's called a data type. That if I use C time, I can actually use the library file of its methods of data type that comes with it. So before is a data type of the serial time, and after of that time underscore t. The other one is going to still be there. The x in the result is going to be there. This is new as the int I. So I went in to this point right now. I'm going to initialize. The iteration is to initialize to 1. I prompt the user, okay, for a double value, and then I just do, this is the part where you will need to put your code in here. So your code goes here. What do you write in here that actually records the iteration for the first before the POW? Okay, so you need to write a for loop, basically. How would you read this in? So that goes right here, right after this thing, after this comment line of code that I have right here. You would actually put in what is your code that's recording the time before you use your POW. Your with the base with square root, right? So how would you write that in here? So I have you written in this thing. Okay, so here is this for loop that you have. Okay, so you come in, you put this in here, all right, with this. Now, and then you would come in and actually need to actually put your code in here. This is the yellow part. You need to read that website that I gave you, all right, and your code for it after. So it captures the time before and it captures the time after that you actually used the for loop for this thing, okay? And then you're going to output that result in here. Now, let me go back here and talk about this iteration for a second in here before you get too far with this thing. If you look at that website, the C++.com website, I talked to you about when you actually put in your iterations for this thing. And you need to look at it, because how do you pass in the time parameter and set it equal to before? Okay, so it has to do with this before right here. You see this before? This is going to have to equal to whatever that parameter that I gave you down there. And then at the end of this thing, you also have to give whatever the time it is to equal the after. Okay, so these are the two lines that you need to actually to input in this thing. Okay, now and then it goes on. You put your C out in this thing, and now we need to record is your second time you do this thing is the appropriate lines that actually displays the calculation for this thing. So again, you need to actually capture the before and after the square root of this thing. All right, so that goes here. So look at that statement with the before and after data type that you have. Here's the before, here's the after. So that's the key thing, is we're going to take the snapshot of this thing, and you're going to actually run this thing through. Whatever the iteration is, you're going to compile this thing, copy your code here. So with your yellow initialization that takes in place here, copy everything and paste it here for me, your entire code for me, okay? And then you come down here to this table, fill in how fast does it take, okay? Oh, split seconds. You can't blink of an eye probably with this thing. So right now, I'd like for you to write this iteration to get this equal iteration to what? How many zeros is this? This is 3, 6, 100 million seconds. This is what this is. Okay, so I like for you to calculate this time, changing the constants. Instead of 1 up here, you're going to change this to 100 million for me. All right, so you're going to see the difference in that. Compile again. Tell me how many seconds it is in here this time. Now, the results, okay, maybe differ depending on the processor that you have with it, but it's just going to vary with the results. You're going to show me the calculated results in this table right here. Cool? All right.